with this, oh my word, with this, oh my word. Yeah, I'm like cut off. Oh my word. Yeah, I'm like cut off the angles always, but you know what, we're just gonna roll with it because that's how the TikTok live likes to roll. I'm gonna start off with a sermon as usual. Let's see here what we're gonna talk. Interesting topics off the back of my mind that I want to talk about. But let's check my screenshots here. So we're going to start with the sermon. Okay, so let's go in first and foremost into Delulu land. Okay, now Delulu land is, what I like to say, based off of this verse from the book, the Bible. The Bible literally translates into the book. It's not a religious text unless you are assuming it to be. Let's go with Romans 4:17 KJV. Hell yeah. So, the most important thing, in my opinion, from here in terms of manifestation, because you know that I perceive the Bible as one of the greatest manifestation books out there. And calleth those things which be not as though they were. All right. So, what does this mean? Calleth those things which be not as though they were. All right. So, what does this mean? Calleth those things which be not as though they were. In terms when you go delulu, because you are hallucinating this matrix. You are hallucinating your 3D experience. The matrix, the mother, the breeder is bringing these things back to you, that which you project in your mind. And the more that you have a concentrated focus on a particular thing, the more likely that thing is going to appear to you in 3D. So when you calleth those things which be not as though they were, let's say you are manifesting $20 million. Now, you don't necessarily have the $20 million in front of you, in your hand, in your bank balance, however it is, but you're going to call it there as though it was. Now, you don't need to lift a finger. I just posted a video about you not needing to lift a finger and, shit unfolding, just in your mind. I've experienced this many times, individuals that I've worked with and friends who are into manifestation have experienced this many times. So you don't need to physically do anything. You call the thing which is not as though it was. So you're manifesting $20 million. I'm a multimillionaire. I have 20 million in my bank account right now. That's what it is. You keep your focus on that. And I posted another video talking about directional focus and confusion when you type in the search bar. So if you want to imagine you calling the things that be not as though they were, you don't want to give too many commands. In my video, I touched upon saying the metaphor that when you think something and you are focused on it, that is like your thought, which is typing in the search bar of Google. So if you type in, I'm a millionaire, I have $20 million in my bank account, that's it. You don't need to concern yourself with the how or the when or anything like that. You just say, I'm a multimillionaire, I have $20 million in my bank account. It's a clear channel. It doesn't matter what's showing up in the 3D. It doesn't matter what your bank balance is saying. It doesn't matter what you're feeling, okay? That is a clear command. You are calling the thing, the $20 million, which is not as though it were. Boom, boom, boom. Now imagine the search history in your mind, $20 million, $20 million, $20 million. Ooh, let's go. If I could snap my fingers, I would, but I can't, and I really don't care to change that, okay? So you're summoning the $20 million. Now, all you see in your search history of your mind, which is going to get reflected back to you via the avenue of the matrix, the mother, the breeder from the conscious thought, the father of all creation, which is the thought, which is the command, 20 million, 20 million. I'm a multimillionaire, 20 million, 20 million, okay? Now, what happens, you're calling the thing which isn't as though it were, but you also don't want to type in multiple searches. So if you type in, I'm a multimillionaire, I have $20 million, then you say, how is this money going to arrive to me? You just typed in another input to the search bar. So what's going to happen is that you kind of veered direction from the thing which you already stated that you wanted to something else. So the Google search is just going to continue bringing things that you type in and saying, here you are, here you are. It's neutral. Everything is neutral. This is why your feelings don't matter. Now, your feelings matter in terms of you want to have a pleasant experience in the 3D, right? You don't want to be feeling uptight, anxious, angry, pissed off, whatever the fuck. You want to have a pleasant experience. So your feelings matter in that regard, but they don't matter in terms of your manifestation, okay? So no matter what you're feeling, if you would just remain with one statement, you don't need a million affirmations. If you just had one statement, no matter what's happening in the 3D, no matter what doubts creep up, no matter what your meemaw peepaw fucking said, okay? You stand firm in your story. You are calling that thing which be not as though it was. And at a certain point, that thing is going to show up for you. Manifestation community talk about persistence, because if you have a story that contradicts the $20 million just landing magically in your bank account, which likely a few of you do, okay, because you're programmed that you have to work hard for money. Money doesn't grow on trees and all this shit, right? The 20 million can only come from a lotto win or from some shit. So you likely have beliefs that the 20 million can't just magically appear, which is why you have to keep going and keep going and keep going. It's like you are battering the fucking Google search bar. So now all it sees, I'm a multimillionaire, I have $20 million in my bank account, I'm the Lord and there is none else, period. Okay? So that's number one. You don't want to put some convoluted searches in there, right? Because then you start getting all convoluted shit in your 3D, which is, you know, it comes from wavering, it comes from doubt, it comes from fear or other programs that are overriding. It doesn't matter, okay? I promise you. You're not going to have to lift a finger, okay? Now, if you want to set the tone for the $20 million to come to you, you're going to say, my $20 million arrived to me peacefully, perfectly, better than I expected. That's it. It's already done. It's here, right? You can set the tone, in my opinion, from a broad perspective. But if you're trying to nitpick at the details of it has to be a lotto win, then, you know what? It's your reality. You can do that, but I recommend not doing that, because as long as you're saying that it arrived peacefully, perfectly, better than you expected, do you really give a fuck where the 20 million came from? I think not. I think not. Because me, like I said, hand me a fucking duffel bag of unmarked fucking bills. I'll take my 20 million out of this fucking sky. The fucking stork could drop it off, okay? I don't give a fuck. But I'm delulu as fuck, okay? And this is how I personally manifest. I don't look at the 3D. Like, yes, I fucking shower. I brush my teeth. I put deodorant. I do things in the 3D, right? Like, it's not like I'm just laying there like a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't lift a finger to get the thing. I wouldn't even buy a lotto ticket. I'd be like, unless I'm guided to, unless it's like I'm compelled, I'm drawn to go to the fucking bodega and buy a lotto ticket, I ain't gonna do it. Because I've seen evidence that you don't need to fucking do anything aside from keep your mind on your fucking goal. Okay, so that's number one. Now let's get to the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is one of my favorite verses in terms of manifestation here. So let's see. This one comes from KJV once again, because I just love me some KJV. It gets me all like tangly, you know what I'm saying? This is Isaiah 45, okay? Now 45:5. I am the Lord and there is none else. Okay, I'm joking. Anyway, live is not over. Live is continuing. I am the Lord and there is none else. What the fuck does that mean? This means that there is no one but you. There is no thinker but you. There is no perceiver but you. There is no observer but you. It is you. I am the Lord and there is none else. What I declare goes. What I type into the search bar of Google, that's it. No one else is typing that in for me. So let's piggyback off of what I just fucking talked about, where I said, motherfuckers gonna try to tell you how you gonna get your $20 million. Meemaw and peepaw hollering in your fucking ear, and they're like, you gotta work hard for that shit, whatever. Okay, we love Meemaw and peepaw as long as they jiggy people. Okay, anyway, so they telling you how you gonna get it, and they are not the Lord in your reality. You're the Lord in your reality. So that's what I am the Lord and there is none else means. Society will say that you need a job. You need to go to school. You need to fucking work hard and slave away for the system, where maybe you'll get lucky and you'll win the lottery, right? Cool. But if you are the Lord, which you are, and there is none else, which is also true, then it don't matter what the outside is saying. It matters what you keep typing into the search bar. So if someone or the 3D tries to deter you from the thing that you want, you say, bitch, I am the Lord and there is none else. Okay, I will make darkness light before them and crooked places straight. Whatever the fuck how that verse goes, the rest of it. Okay, but you cannot go by what anyone else is saying. You cannot go by what anyone else is doing. Advice, I'm sure, maybe sometimes might be given, to the best of one's knowledge, but they're not you. They're not the thinker in your experience. You're the thinker in your experience. If you allow someone else to think for you, you have to allow them that privilege. So then meanwhile whispering in your ear, but you don't have $20 million. You got to work hard for that, or you got to win the lotto. Then now meanwhile is essentially God of your reality, because you listened to what they said. So the way that I personally manifest for me, which I've done this even before knowing about conscious manifestation, I would just sit and daydream about the shit that I wanted. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is the next step. And then I would just be guided to go do it. Okay. Now, if it's something that you have a belief that directly contradicts the thing that you want, that's where you're going to type in the search bar, type in the search bar, type in the search bar. I'm a multi-millionaire. I have $20 million in my bank account, yada, 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 whatever. Okay. It's that repetition that's going to help override that belief system. But you do not need to do anything physical. Okay. If you are meant to do something physical, you will be guided to do that thing physically. It will just come naturally to you. You're not going to have to think about it. So this is something that I get asked a lot. Like, how can you tell if it's an inspired action compared to something where it's like, your ego wanting to control the 3D? So how to tell it's an inspired action is that you're not even going to feel like you're doing it. It's just going to flow. You will not know until after the thing has happened that it was an inspired action. So this leads me to my next point, okay? When someone is talking about intuition and psychic ability and manifestation, right? Because like for many years before I was aware of conscious manifestation, I would just say I'm psychic, because I would think about things or I'd fantasize about things and then they would happen. I'm like, oh shit, I'm psychic. But it'd be down to a fucking T, the thing that I fucking would think about. And I'm like, oh my God, like, so here's the thing. In my opinion, this ain't right, this ain't wrong. This is just my opinion because I've been asked this. In my opinion, to a degree, psychic ability and manifestation intuition, they kind of go hand in hand, right? Because an inspired action is really like a psychic nudge, okay, from your higher self, God, source, universe, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's not something that you're consciously thinking of. It's just like you're compelled to do it. So if you were not open to receiving that thing, then that thing would never have presented itself to you in the way of an action. Okay, so in my opinion, like we can say psychic ability and manifestation are two separate niches, which, at least on TikTok they are, right? But there's still a sense of intuition. In my opinion, an inspired action is an intuition from your higher self, because how is it communicated communicating with you, right? If your higher self could see through all timelines all the time, whereas your ego limited perspective, you're not, your higher self knows what you want. So it's like setting the fucking address in the GPS, and then your higher self, because it's seeing the entire map, it's like, oh, this route is fucking quicker. Let me just nudge them to go there. If you weren't open to receiving that, you wouldn't have been moved, okay? So now also, in my opinion, psychic ability is like you're kind of tapping into other timelines, which with manifestation, you're doing that as well, but you're consciously doing it. So the difference between psychic ability and manifestation is that with psychic ability, it just kind of, it just flows, okay? And any one of you have had intuitive things occur with them, right? You're just kind of seeing into that timeline. You're not actively looking for it, okay? Whereas conscious manifestation is like, let's say the timeline where you have $20 million, you're consciously activating it. You have a conscious thought. I'm aware that another version of me has this $20 million, so I'm going to visit there. Whereas, let's say, I don't know, you have like a past life or some shit, or you just sense something about someone that's talking to you. It's just coming to you through an intuition. So in my opinion, the two can be like they can be congruent to the extent where you're receiving that information intuitively to guide you towards your manifestation. But psychic ability, you're not consciously doing it, okay? Whereas a conscious manifestation, you are consciously aware this is a timeline I am tapping into, okay? So now, how does this tie into thought transmission? Because sometimes the motherfuckers are going to say, oh, but what about the thought transmission? I knew what they were thinking. I knew what they were feeling. You picked it up from you, okay? And let's say you and your homie, you're watching a show and you're both looking at the same thing, right? The atmosphere, okay, is not personal. The atmosphere and thoughts and emotions are not personal. You might think they are because you are the only one that's aware of your thoughts and you are the only one that's aware of your emotions, but they are not personal because they are intangible. So how can they be personal, right? Like your physical vessel is personal to you because you can touch it. So it says, I am me, they are they, whatever the case. Now, a thought and emotion, why thought transmission works is because the atmosphere is potent with energy. So you can look at it, and there's different ways to look at it, which I'm going to tie into what I just spoke about with the whole psychic versus manifestation shit. So thoughts are there, okay? You can access someone's thoughts, but if it's more of like a psychic thing, you and your fucking homie, you're watching a movie, you think the same thing, you look at each other, you say the same thing, right? It's in the atmosphere, okay? You weren't consciously aware of it, but there was a part of you that was tapped into that at the same time they were, because you have resonance with them, because you have congruence with them, because they're your fucking homie. Now, thought transmission is the same thing, similar, like I said, about the conscious manifestation versus a psychic intuition, where you are aware that you are doing, you have the consciousness to say, I am sending these thoughts to this individual, okay? So conscious manifestation and psychic ability, they can go a little bit hand in hand, but when you are consciously manifesting, it's still to an extent using psychic ability, because remember, these thoughts and emotions are intangible, and psi means anything with the mind, so it's anything that you can't touch really. But what you're doing is you are actively in awareness that you are projecting these thoughts onto someone else. Whereas if it was just like you're tuned into the atmosphere at the same time as your best homie is, and you look at each other and you say the same thing, you're not consciously doing that. You're just kind of receptive, okay? So this is going to tie into another video that I just posted, talking about the masculine and feminine principles of manifestation. And the masculine principle of manifestation is very much, like I said, where you have an awareness that you're actively projecting, right? You are boom, boom, boom. That's what you're doing. The feminine principle of manifestation is where you're just kind of chilling and you're not actively projecting anything. You are in receiving mode. Now, it doesn't matter what your gender identity is. This is just about energy in terms of how things are orchestrated in the matrix, okay, as I fucking choke on my water. So the active principle of manifestation is like you are consciously aware, I am accessing this timeline with $20 million. I am accessing to send SP these telepathic messages. You're okay, and in that venture, when you are actively doing this shit, I highly recommend following my protocol of what I said about typing in the Google search. You don't want to fucking overwhelm the system. So if you're actively manifesting a timeline where you have $20 million, give it one command. I'm a multimillionaire. I have $20 million in my bank account. Everything arrived to me peacefully, perfectly, better than I expect. Boom. That's it. If the thought crosses your mind, boom, that's the active notion, okay? Because the receptors of the matrix are feminine, so they're always receiving the active thoughts that you compel upon it, okay? Now, it's the same thing with thought transmission. So if you want to send a thought to SP, you're applying the masculine principle, and you're saying, SP is in love with me. SP is so obsessed with me. I'm happily married to SP. They can't live without me, right? You're actively applying it, but then you don't want to overcomplicate it. You just want to make it one statement, in my opinion, because then if you start saying, when is it going to happen? How's it going to happen? But they did this in the past, but this happened, and this motherfucker said, and this show said relationships are hard, and Meemaw and Peepaw, I got a divorce. Stop it. Stop. Okay? Masculine principle. The simpler and more direct you can keep the command, the faster the thing will respond to you, because it's always receiving. But if you're giving too much, that's not what the masculine principle does. The masculine principle is direct and concise, and it says, okay, this is not about gender. I don't care what you got going on in between your legs. This is about the principles of manifestation, so don't get it fucking twisted, okay? Everyone can utilize masculine and feminine energy, but I'm talking about the feminine receiving principles, like, oh, okay. And then it's the job for that receptive matrix to comply with what the command you gave it says, okay? So just be direct and concise. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? And now the masculine principle is done, okay? It left the fucking chat. It said I left the command. Now if your ego tries to holler at you and be like, bitch, you ain't got no 20 million fucking dollars, what do? You give the command again. You don't get bothered by the ego. You are commanding. Remember, I am the Lord and there is none else, motherfucker. I call the things which be not as though they fucking were. Okay, so the more simple and concise you keep the command, that's it, okay? Anytime the thing crosses your mind, what is one statement that says you already have the thing? Boom, that's it. Now, the receptive energy is the matrix. It's breeding those things for you, okay? And how that works is that you now, because you have already orchestrated the masculine principle, it's your job to just sit back and relax and trust and know that the thing is already being worked out for you, okay? There's no more masculine principle in the chat. It's done. If you feel a thought coming up, yes, override it with that same command, but don't start putting up energetic walls. Same command, but don't start putting up energetic walls to you and that thing. And how you put up an energetic wall betwixt you and that thing is for you to give too many commands. You give one conscious command of exactly the thing that you want. You let the rest sort itself out, and you allow yourself to be open to receiving that thing. And when you are open to receiving that thing, this is why a lot of motherfuckers receive their shit when they're not thinking about it, because they're not actively thinking against it. Now, you can receive your shit if you're actively thinking against it. Like, let's say you were thinking against it all fucking morning, okay? And you tried to override with the command. You were feeling like shit. You're feeling like cringy on the inside, and you're like, oh, this is bullshit. I ain't gonna get this. Then you take a fucking hot shower in the evening. You let it go and you fucking relax, and you're just like, okay, boom, the thing will come. Why? Because your guard is fucking down, okay? You don't want to have a guard up to your desires, okay? Now, that's what the ego likes to do. So a lot of this, when you command from the masculine principle, it's your job to keep training the ego. You say, this is a command, doggy. This is what you're going to do. You're only going to respond to this. You're not going to guard anything that I want to come to me, okay? And when you are in the receptive mode of the manifestation, You're not trying to control it, okay? Now, if you want to control the timing and the how, because yes, I know someone is going to ask, can you manifest on a time crunch? As you pardon me for a little second here. Okay. So, if you want to control the timing and the how, okay, yes, this can be looked at as sort of like the masculine principle because you're trying to control an outcome, or it can be looked at as something from the ego. If you want to control something, you say, if you really want something on a time crunch, and I promise you, okay, I promise you, if you really want something on a time crunch, if you have an idea of the time that you want, say it is done by then, even though time doesn't exist. But for some of you, you can be like, can you manifest on a time crunch? Yeah, you can manifest whatever the fuck you want, but the trick to manifesting on the time crunch that the thing shall arrive to you by the date that you dictate is that you have to set it and forget it, and you have to say, yeah, it's done by then, I don't need to worry about it. It's like you booked the fucking trip, okay, and you know that you're leaving on that day. You don't feel, am I really leaving on my trip? No, you just, right? So I don't know how easy that would be, depending on you. Only you know yourself. Some things you may be able to manifest on a time crunch, other things you might have a lot of fucking fear-based thoughts around that. This is why I just recommend it's done now, it's done now, it's done now. But if you want to say a time crunch, the way to do it is to set it and forget it, and you really cannot think about that thing again, okay? And yes, I have manifested things on a time crunch, but when I was successful manifesting things on a time crunch, I just said, it'll happen by then. And I did not think of it again. I didn't think about it again, okay? And it fucking happened by then. It happened like likely instantaneously in less than a week in most of those occasions, okay? Because I didn't think about it. Is it really gonna happen by then? No, I was just like, yeah, it'll happen by then. And for some things where I felt like I had a lot of resistance to, I didn't even do a time crunch. I just kept saying, it's done now, mother. It's like, it's done now. It's done perfectly, better than I expect, because I'm the Lord and there is none else, okay? So, but that's me. Everyone manifests differently. For me, I can go full Delulu. I don't need logic, okay? For me, logic, I'm like, the fuck is this? Like, I don't even, I barely use logic in my fucking 3D endeavors, okay? That's how fucking wild it is. So, now, if you want to dictate the parameters of how the thing gets to you, number one, I will loosely recommend, and remember, it's your reality, you do whatever the fuck you want, but I loosely recommend you don't give a fuck how it gets there. Now, of course, you don't want anything chaotic to happen in your 3D in order for the thing to get to you, so you just say, it already arrived peacefully, perfectly, better than I expect, okay? I would recommend dropping the fucking how. The how doesn't matter, okay? It really doesn't. So let's go $20 million example. I'm gonna ask you this. So you can have $20 million tomorrow, but you were fucking going ham saying, but it gotta come from a lotto win. Okay, you know what? The $20 million could have been handed to you tomorrow, but you said you wanted a lotto win. So now what if the lotto win happens a month or a year from when you said that, right? That's why I wouldn't. Now, to touch on something else, what I would say, if you want the experience of having a lotto win, that is different from saying $20 million in my bank account, because now you are dictating what experience you want to have in the 3D. Just like having $20 million in your bank account right now is an experience, and if you don't care where it comes from, it just appears magically out of thin air, which I'm perfectly fine with. You know, I ain't even gonna question. I'll be like, yep, that's right. Okay, but if you want the experience of the how, then that's a desire in and of itself. So then you would say, I won $20 million in the lottery because that's an experience that I want to have. So you really want to ask yourself, especially when it comes to money. And with money, I recommend getting very, very, very specific, okay? You want to say the exact dollar or euro or pound, you know, whatever currency is in your country, okay? You want to set that exact amount, but you also want to say, I always have more than. I always have more than. So if we're manifesting $20 million, I always have more than $20 million in my bank account, okay? Maybe I didn't say that at the beginning, but that is something that I would recommend. You always want to imply more. You always want to imply increase with wealth, at least in my opinion, okay? Because you want your money to keep increasing. You don't want to set a bracket, okay? So I always have more than $20 million in my bank account, perfectly peacefully, better than I expect. Always, 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 because I'm the Lord and there is none else. How did it appear magically out of thin air? Bank error in your favor. Pass, go, collect $20 million. Okay, motherfucker. That's what we got. Okay, so those are sort of my thoughts on that with the timing. That's what we got. Okay, so those are sort of my thoughts on that with the timing and everything. But for me personally, I say it's done now. I say it's done perfectly, peacefully, better than I expect, and that's it. Okay, especially if there's like a limiting belief or a story or, you know, whatever. And if you fucking tell the mountain to move, the mountain will fucking move, I promise you. And you're not gonna have to move the mountain. You're not gonna have to put on hiking boots and fucking gloves and push a mountain. No, you're not gonna have to do that. This shit, you're going to be compelled to do something. And then after the manifestation arrives, you're like, oh shit, that's why I did that. Okay, so there could be, I want to make this very, very clear. There might be no signs at all in the 3D of the manifestation happening. There might be no signs. Shit might be quiet. Not even crickets, homie. Okay, shit is quiet as a motherfucker. Nothing happening in 3D. Or if you're seeing what looks like the opposite in the 3D, it doesn't matter. I promise you, if you keep your mind right, no matter how you are feeling, and you get that one command in, that's it. And that shit happens fucking fast, in my opinion. Okay, now fast of course is a subjective term, but I like shit fast. I like my shit instant. I want to snap my fingers if I could, but I can't, and I don't care to. Snap my fingers, click my fucking tongue, because I can do that. Boom, the shit appears. Okay, snap my fingers, click my fucking tongue, because I can do that. Boom, the shit appears. Okay, now the reason why, here's something else I want to touch on. Okay, I'm gonna sip some seltzer, because I love me some seltzer. Why? I love my fizzy water. So okay, let me just wait, what was I going to touch on? I forget, because, you see, my mind is so fast, so I'll be thinking something, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about this, and it goes into something else. What was I going to say? I forgot. I know I'm going to remember at a certain point, but I forgot right now what I was going to say. Does anyone remember what I was saying? I was talking about something. I said someone is going to ask something, and then I lost my train of thought, because that's how fast, like, shit, you know what I mean? Shit just flows in and out of my mind. Can you give some advice on handling the exact opposite in the 3D? Is it telling you to fix something? You have to not perceive something as the opposite. You just, like honestly, the 3D does not matter, okay? So if you're looking at the 3D and you're even perceiving something as the opposite, you're looking in the wrong direction, I promise you. So my advice to anyone in here, do not look at the 3D at all, because there have been times where it seemed like jack shit was going on. 3D could be a fucking shit show, but the thing is already done. And then you wake up the next morning like, oh shit, it's done. It was unfolding this whole time. Okay, so don't even look at the 3D. And if you're gonna say, should you correct the opposite, you're still toiling with the 3D. And in my opinion, you don't want to do that, because now, like I said in the beginning, you, instead of placing that one command in the Google search bar, now you've taken away that command, and now you place something else in the search bar. So it's going to start searching for that. So you start searching for solutions to a perceived problem when the problem doesn't exist, because the only thing that exists is your consciousness. And if you're not perceiving something as a problem, there ain't no fucking problems. All is well. Everything is fucking chicky. Okay? I was talking about manifesting a time crunch. Oh God, I know I was. Thank you for that. I'm gonna see if I'm. It's gonna come to mind in. It's gonna come to mind. I don't remember right now. Can you actually change the past physically, not just people forgetting and pretending? I mean, okay. I'm gonna pull this one out, okay? If any of you have ever seen that movie Back to the Future, I forget if it was part 1 or part 2, but in Back to the Future, where spoiler alert, Marty McFly, okay, he when he was going traversing the timelines and the newspaper changed in front of him, like whatever that movie's considered, I guess science fiction or whatever. A lot of science fiction movies tell you how reality creation works, but he changed the physical newspaper by going back or going forward in time. I don't remember in this moment, but yes, you can change things from the past or the future by your perception of it now. You can. And the thing, I've made things appear out of nowhere and I have no idea how it got there. Okay, so I have personal evidence of this, and it's not just changing someone's perceptions, although you can, but yes, physical matter can be moved as well, as long as you are either focused on what you want or, you know, not focused on the thing that you don't want. Just like you know, the whole thing where I manifested the Barbados keychain, okay, that legit appeared out of nowhere. I have no idea, but it appeared at the proper time when I first started getting into, you know, Neville Goddard and his famous Barbados story. Out of nowhere, I'm handed a fucking jewelry box of like my childhood fucking things, like trinkets and magnets and pins and jewelry, whatever shit that I ain't seen since I was a fucking child. I've never been to Barbados. I don't know anyone who has been to Barbados. A Barbados keychain. Right when I started posting on TikTok about Neville, roughly like 2 years ago, all of a sudden was handed to me. And I asked motherfuckers, I said, you been to Barbados? I mean, people that would have known me as a child, they're like, no. I'm like, then how to get there, right? So yes, you can make physical things appear out of nowhere, because why would I have gotten that? And right before the whole Barbados keychain appeared, what happened is that I channeled something, and the message was, I channeled it in Latin, but it was, I am the key. I'm like, I am the key? What the fuck does that mean? Boom, I'm handed a keychain. I said, oh, okay, ain't that fucking funny? So that's basically what happened with that. But I really wish what I was saying about the manifesting on a time crunch would come back. I really wish what I was saying about the manifesting on a time crunch would come back into my mind. Hey, Chala, what's up, girl? Thank you for joining. Sophie, yeah, it is. It's fucking wild. Hey, Nagar. Aw, you're the best. Beautiful. Thank you for joining. Hey, SJ, what's up? You're amazing. So the thing with the time crunch, what I would recommend, and this has worked best for me, okay, is to not focus on the timing at all. The timing does not matter. The 3D does not matter. If you're looking at the 3D, you are giving that attention when in the search bar. All you need to do is keep commanding, because now you typed in another search where you're going to try to, thank you for the heart, where you're going to try to, you're typing in another command, okay? So if a 3D circumstance pops up and you don't like it, or you perceiving as the opposite, that is way too much attention. That is way too much attention for you to be giving to the 3D. So now your ego mind is going to try to come up with problem solving, right? And there is no problem, because you can just say, yeah, that didn't happen. That doesn't exist. I mean, I'm not saying don't entirely, ignore, like if you're, in physical danger or something like that, of course, don't ignore the 3D, right? But, whatever is happening, no, that didn't happen. And the times, this is what I tell everyone that I work with, the times that it looks like the 3D is kicking your ass, which it isn't, but remember, it's all about perception. Those are the times you had to persist the hardest. Okay, so it's like you're persisting in the new, because this is where I've noticed a lot of individuals get discouraged, right? You're persisting, command. Something that wasn't in the command pops up in 3D. Hey, what's up? How you doing? And you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? I didn't want that. I wasn't expecting that. Manifestation is bullshit. Is this really working? Blah, blah. That is where you command the firmest, okay? You command the firmest. You have a puppy, and that puppy is walking around on your nice white carpet. You gonna let it shit on the floor and not do anything and not train it? Okay, yeah, well, yeah, I guess we're just gonna tolerate that. No, it's the same principle, okay? If something comes up in the 3D, that is when you persist the most, because that is where the true change occurs. You could be every day feeling zen, I'm a god, I'm a goddess, I'm chilling, I'm living my life, right? Yeah, it's easy to affirm then. But when something comes up in the 3D, you are not going to allow the 3D to bully you. You're not. You persist even more strongly and determined. And you know what? You know what? If you mad, if you crying, whatever rage you feel, you're pissed at the 3D, fucking say, I'm the Lord and there is none else. This is my command. You obey me, motherfucker. That's it. Whatever you want to say. But don't change the command. Don't, you get a bill in the mail, you manifesting $20 million. I'm a multimillionaire, bitch. This bill don't mean shit. I don't even have bills because all my shit is on auto pay because I have a multimillionaire. I have $20 million. My cash flow is always increasing. I always have more than $20 million in my bank account. What's going to happen? That shit's going to disappear. Okay? So you have to persist the hardest when it looks like the 3D is trying to jump scare you. Okay? That's when you persist the hardest. You love my examples. Thank you, Nagar. Oh, that's the one. Oh, SJ. Okay. I'm glad I said it. I'm so glad I said it because I had no idea, you know, because these thoughts just come into my mind out of nowhere. What about movement? There's always movement. There's always movement whether you see it or not, because nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. That's from one of my other favorite books, The Kabbalion. It's one of the 7 Hermetic Principles. So I definitely recommend checking that out. That's a book that if you're interested, you might want to revisit it every so often because it's a lot. But yes, so being that the 3D looks very solid, okay, like everything, you know, we can touch ourselves, it looks like solid, okay, but everything is made up of energy, and this energy is just slowed down and condensed into physical matter, but it's still moving, it's still vibrating, okay? That's why nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So your thoughts, even though you can't see them, are always vibrating, they're always moving, they are intangible, but your thoughts eventually, the more concentrated awareness you give to a particular thought, like I said, that one command, what is happening is that now it's building up a concentration, okay? So, oh my God, this is gonna be a fucking weird example, but if you ever left ice cream, if you've ever like left ice cream out and then it starts to congeal, right? The texture changes, okay? The consistency of it changes. And that's kind of what's happening from a metaphorical perspective of when you have a concentrated thought on something. You're shooting thoughts at it, and your thoughts are waves, right? So now the waves, they are starting to condense because you're just shooting so many waves at it. And then what's happening is that now, because the wave is being bombarded with the same thing, it starts to coagulate, and then it starts to materialize into physical matter, and that's how reality is created. And oh, Mickey Mouse, I'm glad you're here. You know, that's how reality is created. If you even, you know, if you're familiar with the double slit experiment, as I'm sure a lot of you are, it basically says the same thing. Okay, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So now those vibrating thoughts, which are made of energy, are condensing and they're still moving, and now they turn into physical matter, okay, in front of you. But you're the only consciousness, so it's like you are bringing yourself into that reality, because that reality exists in energetic potential, but the more awareness you focus on that, the faster you're going to collapse the distance betwixt you and that timeline, and then you are going to step into that timeline because you've now concentrated your awareness. So the matter of that timeline is going to be available for you to experience, if that makes sense. That makes sense. Why do you have so much competition in your reality with your SP baby cupcakes? You're saying that there's no competition. So why are you perceiving that there's competition when you're the only observer? So if you were to say I'm the only one, where would the competition be? I'm the Lord and there is none else. It's not I'm the Lord and this motherfucker right here is going to control my reality. You are the Lord and there is none else. There can only be competition if you say there is. I'm the best. I am the only one. I am the center of all creation. That's who you are. There's no competition. La la la. Thank you for the rose baby cupcakes. Make sure you keep that in mind. I am the Lord and there is none else. There is no one else but you. Okay? Woo! Oh, you lit up the roses. Thank you so much. Is 2 years too long to be manifesting X? Laura Kate, do you think it's too long? Because that's placing awareness on timing, and I don't know what long or short means to you because you're an individual. But if your question is saying, you know, should you just give up at this point, which I'm kind of sensing that's what you're saying, and you're perceiving that maybe nothing has worked or you're not seeing movement, that's still your perception, number one, because you're fixated on time, number two, because you're looking at movement. Okay, so 2 years doesn't mean anything. The reality where you and SP are together exists now, and if you keep looking back, you are typing in a different command saying it's been 2 years and nothing has happened. It's been 2 years and this shit happened. You're sending mixed messages to the matrix. So you want to get one clear, concise message. SP and I are together right now. There is no time. It is done. That's it. How should people go about winning the lottery, Jen? Okay, like I said previously, if you want to think about winning the lottery, is this an experience that you want of winning the lottery, or do you just want the money and you don't care where it comes from? Because if it's just the experience of it, then you would manifest it the way that you would manifest anything. I just won the jackpot in the lottery, whatever state you're in. It would be the same thing. One clear, concise command, okay? So anyone in here, and yes, this will be posted on YouTube at a certain point. Whatever you want right now, I suggest making one clear, concise affirmation. That's it. You don't need to memorize a million of them, okay? You really don't. What do you want? What implies that the thing is done now? It's done perfectly, peacefully, better than you expect. Go with that. That's the command. You're not doing anything else, okay? Direct, 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 okay? I'm just enjoying my fizzy water and my flat water because I always have a million drinks over here. JJT, how to stop reacting or responding to the 3D. You just don't engage with it. I mean, now, if it's something where it's like you have to engage with it, I mean, you don't have to do shit, number one. But if it's something where you're like, okay, yeah, I need to get my ducks in a row with this, just deal with it. But say, yeah, oh, thank you for the heart, Lazarus. You just keep saying, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, you kind of go through the motions and you just check out mentally. It's kind of like if you've ever driven on like the freeway for like a long stretch, you kind of just like zone out. Like, you're aware what you're doing the mechanics of driving, but you're not like checked in, okay? Like, you might be in your mind, or you might be listening to music, or you might be talking to your friend, but you're going through the motions. That's how I'd recommend dealing with the 3D. If there's anything, okay, this is what it is, cool, no problem. This is where my mind is. The mental will always win, and this is why a lot of times this is where my mind is. The mental will always win, and this is why a lot of times thought you You had that fear-based thought. You were living in your mind with the fear-based thought, and then the fear-based thought happened in 3D. It's the same principle, only now you're doing it for shit that you actually do want. Glitch. Yeah, that's true. What Laura Kate, what made you so sure of LOA? I've experienced it. I've seen others experience it. Like I think, you know, and I'm not saying you're skeptical, but for anyone who's skeptical, just try it out. You don't have to believe me. I'm not here to say that, you know, this is the right way. It just is. It's like breathing. You're just always manifesting, and just a lot of times you're not consciously aware of it. So I've experienced it. I've had many experiences that cannot be explained through logic. I glitched talking about that. I mean, it's okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Oh my God, whoever wrote that thing where you said about car colors, that's what I was going to say and I forgot. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I knew I was going to remember, and I remember when I wasn't thinking about remembering. Look at that. So here's the reason why when you want to experiment with manifesting. Okay, now you can do this, right? Especially if you're like kind of newer into this and you don't really believe it. Yes, then I recommend try to manifest a car color. Try to manifest seeing like a purple pickup truck or something, like something that's not common, or it could be anything in your experience. Okay, and likely you're going to see that thing within 24 hours. You're going to see it very, very fast. Okay. Why? Because you don't have resistance to it. So this is why when someone is saying that, and this is just my opinion, okay, you could do whatever you want, but when someone says, oh yeah, I'm going to try out the law for like little things. Okay. Do you care? Do you give a fuck about seeing a purple pickup truck? No. You don't have resistance to it. So the reason why, in my opinion, if you're just trying to manifest signs and angel numbers and synchronicities, I saw SP's name on a license plate. Oh my heavens. You don't give a fuck about that. You don't have resistance to it, so the shit is going to show up perfectly and likely instantaneously. You should give a shit about the shit that you give a shit about, not the shit you don't give a shit about. Okay? Because you don't care. Unless it's your lifelong dream to just continue to see SP's name on a fucking license plate. Go ahead. Keep typing that command. If it's your lifelong dream to see a purple pickup truck, keep on typing that command. If it's your lifelong dream to keep seeing butterflies or angel numbers, then keep typing that, but you don't give a shit about that. That's why the shit shows up instantaneously, because there's no backstory that's contradicting it. For the things that you were programmed since an early age, such as you have to work hard for money, care about that. Give a shit about overriding the command and saying, I don't want to see signs that I'm a millionaire. I am a millionaire, and I didn't have to do jack shit but change my mentality about money. If you have a backstory with SP, whatever the fuck it is, yeah, you should give a shit about that, giving the direct command. SP is in love with me. SP is obsessed with me. They always have been. They always will be. We're perfect for each other. It is done now. It's done perfectly, better than I expect. You should give a shit about that rather than, I'm going to see SP's name on a license plate. And like, listen, no shade if you're motivated by those things, but in my opinion, unless you have the exact thing that you want in 3D, you do not have it. And that's not really an opinion. That's a fucking fact. But my opinion is that you should not even be looking for signs. You know why? Because looking for signs is still looking at the 3D. And what did I just say? You don't look at the 3D for anything. You're checked out. You're checked out. Okay, I got the TV on over here. I have no idea what the fuck is playing because I'm concentrated on my fucking live stream. Okay? So 3D is a TV. You just got its background noise. Okay, yeah, I'm on my phone. I'm scrolling my TikTok. I'm scrolling in my mind. I'm giving a direct command. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. You should care about that. That's my opinion. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to just say it like it is. Do you want your shit or do you not want your shit? Oh, you're manifesting SP and everyone and their fucking brother and grandpapa hit you up. Okay. That's a sign. Yeah, okay, yes, it's a sign that you're in resonance of attracting a relationship, but you don't have a backstory about all these motherfuckers. That's why they're showing up. So you could look at it as like, yeah, there's movement, but unless you have the thing, you focus on just the thing you want. You don't get too caught up in the movement, okay? It's like you at a fucking wedding, okay? And there's like the fucking bar. Okay, and there's motherfuckers dancing in the fucking dance floor. Oh, you walked in, you just want to go to the bar, but you dancing with this motherfucker over here. You dancing with that motherfucker. Everyone's like pulling you to dance. Are you getting what's your destination? Is it to dance or is it to go to the bar, have some drinks, and then go dance? Because that's the same thing as looking at the 3D, looking at signs, looking at angel numbers. It's the exact same thing, but a lot of you, you know, like you get caught up in looking for evidence of the thing. Even, okay, when Neville talks about, I don't even know if Neville was the one that talks about birds before land. Okay, Neville, I believe, says signs follow, they do not precede. I don't know if he talks about birds before land, but birds before land is kind of lumped together in the law of assumption content, where, you know, motherfuckers are sailing on a ship and then they start to see birds, so they know the land was near, and they're like, oh shit, birds. Okay, yeah, maybe it kept up their morale, but my dude, do you want to be on the ship sailing forever, or do you want to be on the shore with your fucking shit? So that's why you don't look at the 3D. You don't look at the 3D. You don't look at signs. You don't look at things you perceive as good. You don't look at things you perceive as bad. And like, you know, I get it. It's kind of like natural for you to be like, oh, wow, like this happened. You're feeling good about it. But okay, yeah, that happened. But you know what? That thing still is neutral. Until you have your shit in the 3D, you do not have it, period. Okay? So, you know, thank you for sharing the live, Anna Maria. But just don't, you're getting distracted. That's a distraction. When, for me, if I had resistance to a particular thing, you know how I fucking got the thing? I didn't look at the 3D. I was like, okay, nope, this is what it is, this is what it is. And I drilled in the same fucking statement over and over and over and over. And it fucking happened, okay? Things I don't have resistance to, I just daydream about it or I think about it once. But if I have resistance and I know that, I ain't looking at no birds before land. I'm like, this is the thing right here. That's it, period. I'm the Lord and there is none else. That's how you get your shit. And it does take discipline mentally. It really does. I see in the chat someone said you just affirmed all you see is porches. Oh my God. That's so interesting. Sometimes you just need a nap. You could be tired. Amen to that. I agree with that. And you know, to couple up with that statement, if you're feeling burnt out, okay, if you're feeling burnt out from manifesting something, you don't need to like force yourself, okay? I mean, yes, I do recommend a good mental diet, but you're not fighting with it. You're just like, yeah, I have what I want. I'm gonna go take a nap. I have what I want. I'm gonna go take a shower. Everything is already unfolded perfectly for me. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go jerk off, whatever you want to do, okay? Like, that's what I recommend. Okay, so this is why sometimes, you know, when someone is saying, should they have an affirmation routine? Should they affirm? And like, yes, that does work for some individuals, but if you're feeling burnt out, I recommend just stopping, because you're going to drive yourself crazy and you don't need to. Manifestation is very, very simple. Yes, V. Would you say being present plays a factor? Absolutely. Because if you're present and you're focused on whatever you're doing in the moment, there's a clear, open channel for that thing to arrive to you, and you're not looking for it. You're just content. And this is about, feeling is a secret, the naturalness of the desire. Like, I'm not looking for TikTok live because I'm on it. I'm just like in the moment. It's the same thing, Guys, I love how like it's like SP stuff. You, Becky, do you really want them to just text you and talk to you again? Is that your goal? Because if it is, then just affirm that. But I don't think that's your goal. This is why I also recommend to individuals go straight to the end. You're in no contact with SP, which you're never in no contact because of thought transmission. So whenever they pop up into your mind, it's like, hey, what's up? They're standing there and they're receiving your thoughts. But you don't want a text message likely. You want to be with them in the flesh. So why affirm for a text message? Like for me, I don't know. Okay, maybe everyone is different. Some people, they prefer to manifest in steps, but like if you really can go full Delulu and you don't even have to believe the affirmations, you just say SP and I are together. SP and I are married. This is the best relationship we both have ever been in. It's done. Okay? You don't like why fuck with the middle? The text message is gonna happen if you're married to them, right? It's gonna fucking happen. And that's why, if you're married to them, right? It's gonna fucking happen. And that's why, you want marriage with SP, but he annoys you so much in the 3D, Chris, then you're looking at the 3D and you don't want to be doing that. The version of him that annoys you is not the one that you're married to. So you had to not look at the 3D and you had to only look at the version of him that you want. The 3D does not matter. Emily Rose, what do I think of age revision, like changing your birth year? I mean, if that's something that's important to you, just start envisioning your new birth year. Like picture your ID or whatever, wherever it says your birthday, and then just start picturing another year. Or you can just say, I was born in XYZ ABC year. It's the same thing as anything. But I mean, I don't know if you're talking about age revision where you care about the year, or are you caring about the way you look, or you're caring about the way you feel? Because if it's only the date, then just focus on the date. But if it's about the way you look and the way you feel, you want to affirm, I'm always looking and feeling my best. I'm always looking and feeling youthful. That's it. Or older. If you someone wants to manifest like, being older, then you say, I'm always looking more mature than my age. I'm always behaving more mature than my age, or whatever your perception of that is, Yeah, I am ageless and youthful. That's a good one. I'm ageless and youthful. That's a good one. Yes, competition is an illusion. There is no someone in competition with you. You know what I mean? Like, is there a backstory about that? Like, because then I would go in and overwrite that backstory too. I'm the Lord and there is none else. There is no one but me and my reality. What I say goes. That's it. Every dollar spent comes back multiple folds. Yeah, Michelle, that's a good one. And you could say as many, you could say 10 times, 100 times the amount. There was something that I saw on here a while ago, and it was some guy, and he was talking about money, and I think he was like a monk or something. I don't know if some of you have seen this video. It's pretty popular. And he was saying something with money. It's like every, dollar I spend or whatever, return to me and bring your friends. And I think that is so fucking legit. Like, I fucking love that. Return to me and bring your friends. Anna Maria, what do I think of robotic affirmation? Oh, here comes the puzzle piece. Oh, joy. Yep, I was talking for an hour. It felt like 5 minutes. Wonderful. Oh, my word. All right, it let me do it in one shot. Cool. You can, I suggest robotic affirmations if you're trying to change a belief about yourself. So if you have a belief that relationships, you know, everyone is a cheater, everyone is a whore bag or something like that, I'd recommend robotic affirmations in, you know, to change that belief. You know, or if it's something that you feel like you have resistance to, like if you're manifesting, you know, millions of dollars out of nowhere and you don't want to work for it, there might be resistance to that. So I'd recommend that, but I'd recommend one and just shoot that like a dart. Just keep shooting it. Just keep shooting it. Just keep shooting it. If there's resistance, you don't need to do robotic affirmations like a million of them or whatever. Okay, like it, but it depends on the person. Okay, so if you are, here's why I recommend setting a routine to affirm. If you are someone who has self-concept issues, okay, and the way that I describe self-concept is it's like the phone and then your other sectors of your 3D experience, like career, relationships, health, all those things are apps. So if your self-concept is shit and you're waking up and you're not feeling good and you're going to sleep and you're not feeling good, that's when I would recommend an affirmation routine only for self-concept. And you would want to make sure that you set a timer to set the trajectory of your day. As soon as you wake up, you set an extra 10 minutes to say your self-concept affirmations to set the tone. And then you do that again at night, 10 minutes before you go to sleep. That's what I would recommend for that. Is it right? Is it wrong? Neither is true, but that is my personal recommendation for setting a timer for self-concept. But if it's something where it's like isolated to an app, you know, you can do it as well. You know, I mean, ain't no one fucking stopping you. But if it's isolated to an app, you know, I would just recommend what do you want out of it. So if it's your relationship app, then you would pick one affirmation and just say it as much as you can throughout the day. That's it. Relationships are always peaceful for me. Everyone that I date is always trustworthy, you know, like something like that. Then you can robotically affirm that throughout the day. SJ, do I have a playlist of favorite subliminals? I do not. I don't really listen to subliminals, honestly. It's just, I don't know, it's not really my thing. I mean, I've listened to some in the past, but I didn't really, I prefer making my own tracks where I just say like affirmations and just sleep. But I haven't actually done that in a while either. If I was to do like subliminals, I'd probably just make my own, honestly. But ooh, thank you for the hug hearts. Alan Snow, love you too. So, I mean, here's the thing with like subliminals or like listening to affirmations and things like that as you sleep. I'm not for or against them. It just depends on you. Like if you feel like a subliminal jives with you and you're like, you know, you're feeling good listening to it, then go for it. You know, but the most important thing, even beyond that, is still what you are dominantly thinking throughout the day. You listen to a subliminal while you're sleeping. If you're thinking against your desire for the whole entire time you're awake, who's going to win? And to be honest, before I even learned about conscious manifestation, when I would just daydream about like the next experience I want to have, I wasn't doing affirmations. I wasn't listening to subliminals. I was just in my fantasy, and then it happened. Okay, so you technically don't need any techniques. Okay, you are the technique, and the thing is already. Okay, so you technically don't need any techniques. Okay, you are the technique, and the thing is already done. So there's really nothing to do. But if you have resistance to a certain thing, then I would recommend affirmations just to get that old story out. Nagar, can I explain what subliminals do with no wording and no affirmations to the subconscious? Now, in my opinion, the subliminals are, you know, and this is just my opinion, you don't know what anyone is putting in there. I don't know what anyone is putting in there. It could be an intention set behind it by the creator, but it's really your interpretation of what it's doing for you. That's what a subliminal is doing. So you can listen to one subliminal and you're just like, oh yeah, this subliminal is going to get me what I want. And then you're still the creator of saying what that subliminal means to you. Whereas if you listen to another subliminal and you're like, I don't really like that one, you're saying it doesn't work for you. That's still your interpretation of it, whereas that subliminal that didn't resonate with you, someone else might like. So if there's no words, it's kind of up to your interpretation of it. And yes, exactly, we create our own meaning, Miss Monte. That's what it is. Even with, like, you know, affirmations where the person is saying affirmations, like, yes, that can go into your mind, but it's still your interpretation of the thing. So if you're like, yeah, these affirmations are going to get me what I want, then that's what's going to happen. Okay, it's really up to you. There was one subliminal maker who was putting bad affirmations in the background of her. Oh wow. Well, thank you, SJ. Glad you're enjoying. I mean, I don't know who that, I don't listen to subliminals, so I don't even know who you're talking about. But if they were caught doing that, yikes for them. I mean, for me, I don't listen to, you know, it's not really, I don't know. If anything, if I want to relax and if I want to just, you know, let my mind run wild, I put on trance music, or I'll put on like some sound bath, like singing bowl, or like binaural beats, or like theta waves, delta waves, which, I mean, I guess theoretically if someone created that track, they could sublimate, but whatever. I'm not even looking at it like that. The thing that I will tell you, binaural beats, if you are listening to that for me has been effective. I'm not saying it's going to be effective for anyone else, but it has been effective. And what binaural beats do, there's some science behind it too, even though I'm not really a science motherfucker, but the science behind the binaural beats is that you're supposed to listen to them with headphones, right? One in each ear, obviously. And it's giving like two different tones to each ear. So it's not hearing the same exact thing, but it's so subtle that you can't really pick it up. But what that's doing is keeping your mind active. And this is what I did to astral project. The first time I astral projected because I saw on a fucking Reddit post, I was like, I want to astral project and like remember it. So they said listen to binaural beats, because as you're falling asleep and you're chanting whatever, your mind is still kind of awake, because it's giving your mind something to do, because it's trying to interpret, like, wait, this ear sounds like that ear sounds like that. And so for me, binaural beats, I would say I did see physical results with that. But yeah, I don't even know what's going on in the chat over here. But it's not for everyone. Like, you really don't need to do anything, okay? Like, you can literally just declare something done one time, and it can be done. I mean, if you have no resistance. Is astral projection real? Yes, I've experienced it quite a few times. I'm not saying everyone has, so if someone never experienced it, they might not believe in it, but I have experienced it, and it's amazing. I love it. Martina, what can you do if you have no idea of what action to take to get closer to your manifestation? There's no action for you to take. It's all mental. You don't need to take any physical action. What do you want? Make one clear, concise statement that implies it's already happened. Over and over, you say that. No matter what the 3D looks like, 3D could look like a circus sideshow. And if you keep firm with that, it's going to happen. You're not going to need to do anything. I can't believe I've been talking for like an hour. You're welcome, Martina. You don't need to do you guys don't need to do anything. Like, I've manifested things that I had a lot of resistance to without doing anything. I was just guided to do things. And after I realized, yes, I took an action, but while the action was being performed, I wasn't even thinking that it had anything to do with the thing I was manifesting. Okay, so that's how it works. Your typos are crazy. I don't even know what's going on in the chat. I'm not seeing any typos, but yeah, I gave a sermon. I can't believe I was talking for an hour, but that, you know, time doesn't exist. So we're just here having fun. I always like to ask this: where are you all from? What countries? What time zones? Oh, hell yeah, we're all just vibing. Thank you, Tam. You love my sermons. Ooh, Boston, Cali, Chicago. Love it. Argentina, New York, Malaysia. Ooh, what time is it, Malaysia? Australia. Oh my God, I love Australia. Oh my God, I love Australia. Bulgaria. Woo. LA. Holla. South Africa. Oh my God. 6 a.m. Northern California. Argentina. Woo. LA. Australia. Indonesia. North Carolina. California. Switzerland. Ooh, I love this. Thailand. Oh my God, I love it. Wow, 12 p.m. in Malaysia. Okay. So you're like on a totally different day. Oh my God. I love it. Thank you all for joining. Ooh, Hawaii, Cambodia. I love it. I love this. I love this. Yeah. So does anyone have any other questions? Ooh, Switzerland. I just want to, you know, ooh, North Carolina from Bulgaria. Nice. Germany. Aw, my channel is the best. Thank you. Choose your reality. Is it important to feel it before it happens? No. You might likely not feel it before it happens, or you might. But feelings in that context don't matter. There have been things that I manifested and I kind of was just like, all right, like I just, you know what I mean? Some things I manifested while I was like angry. Some things I, you know, manifested when I just not even feeling anything. So the feelings don't matter in that sense. When Neville Goddard says feeling is a secret, he means the naturalness of the desire. But I'm starting to not necessarily agree with that. Now, yes, your desire should feel natural, like the next step in some way where you're like, okay, I know this is where I'm going. But your emotions that fluctuate throughout the day, if you're pissed, if you're sad, if you're anxious, whatever it is, that's not gonna affect your manifestation unless you couple those emotions to a thought. Not gonna affect your manifestation unless you couple those emotions to a thought. Oh, thank you, Nagar. I love you. You're amazing, gorgeous. Thank you for being here. If you affirm and forget, yes, Queen K, that's definitely more than enough. You don't, I mean, if you say something once and you don't think about it again, it can happen. It doesn't really matter, you know? Yeah, just decide. Yes, you can just decide. Miss Monte, how to get rid of the feeling that you wasted money after buying something. Everything that I've invested in always serves me perfectly well. But the feeling doesn't really matter. It's likely like, did you have a thought with that? Because, I mean, if you bought something and it felt good in the moment, you know, then it was the right thing to do in the moment. You know what I mean? Thank you, Martina. My content is the best. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Yes, choose your reality. Choose it and it's done. You know, even just deciding this is the next step, this is what it is, no matter what comes in between, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Okay, like I think I said in one of my other lives or a video or something, I was like, you going to Disneyland, okay? That's where you're going. You take a detour. Does that mean that you decided you're going to Disneyland and the detour is going to stop you? No. The navigation is telling you to take this road. Okay, well, but that road is closed, so now you got to go on another road. You're still going to Disneyland. And this is why I recommend, me personally, to just go right to the end. Don't look for text messages, guys. Like, come on. Come on. I know you want the text message, but the text message is going to happen if you stay in the end. If you stay in the end. And this might be easier for some than others, but that's the quickest way, because now you're typing in the command, I am happily married to SP, I'm happily married to SP, I'm happily married to SP, but you ain't hear from them in 3 months. I'm happily married to them. That's the decision. That's where you're going. That's what it is. The text message will happen along the way, you know. You repeated that you're rich since 2022. Well, I would say keep repeating it. You always want more wealth, right? Say you're even richer now. Maria, if you, hi Giuseppe, decisions you made in the past that were not the best, now you regret it. Well, the decision from the past can only be brought to your awareness when you think of it now, and every now moment is brand new. So my suggestion with that is that those decisions never happened. What decision? I don't know what you're talking about. That's the best way. And like a lot of times, like when someone asks about revision, you know, they're like, do I have to go in and make up a whole new scene in my mind and write a script? No, you just say that never happened. Or yeah, that situation, it actually worked out perfectly for me, better than I expect. But the past technically, you know, from the manifestation perspective, doesn't exist. Only the now moment exists. So anything future, anything past, if you're focused on it now, you're summoning that to you now. Every now moment is brand new. Exactly. There is no past. That's so true. Yeah, I love that when they say you are the law, Lord equals law. I think Florence Scovel Shinn says that. Like, if you replace the word Lord in the Bible with law, it makes a whole lot of sense with that. And I love that perspective too. Because really you are the law, because you're dictating what you want. So you are the law. You're saying, present to me this, and by law the matrix, the mother, the breeder, has to present it to you, right? Because you are the authority, you are the operant power. Oh, desire means God. Who said that? Is that your interpretation, or is that what Florence Scovel Shinn said? Because I like that one. Queen K, you've been doing it for such a long time, saying that you're rich and you're still broke. You can't stand this life. No, Queen K, you are loving every minute of your life. Every day is becoming more beautiful than the previous, and you see evidence of your wealth all day, every day. That's the new affirmation. That's the new affirmation, okay, Queen K? You don't want to look at the 3D. You don't want to say, you're looking at timing, okay, and you're saying something about yourself that you don't want, so you're going to stop that. So what would be the opposite of that? All my desires are here now. I am wealthy. Each day is getting more beautiful and better than the previous. I always see evidence of how wealthy I am. That's the new one, okay, Queen K? Happy birthday, Queen K. Well, listen, you have all of us here in the chat keeping you company, okay? So you don't have nothing. You just got to start looking at things differently. And at first it might seem delulu, but I promise you, if you just stick to a more favorable story of what you just typed out here, you're going to start to see improvement. Hey, Michelle, welcome back. Oh, Queen K, this is the first time I replied to you. I'm sorry. you know what, when I start with my sermons, I don't even look in the chat whatsoever. So I probably don't reply a lot, at least in the beginning, but then after that, then I go in and, look at what's happening in the chat. So I'm glad you're here. Definitely you have a happy birthday. Look at everyone wishing you happy birthday. You got this. You a millionaire. Time doesn't exist. Okay? Seriously. Millionaire. Time doesn't exist. Okay? Seriously. Yarica, working on manifesting health. So whatever it is that you want, I don't know exactly what health thing you're talking about, but you first of all don't want to identify with a health problem. You want to start saying that, whatever you perceived as a problem or someone else told you is a problem, it's perfectly healed and healthy right now. I enjoy perfect health. Every day I feel better and better. And you definitely, if there's something that's causing you like physical discomfort, I know how this sounds. You're just, no matter if you have to, take a pill for pain or something or whatever, right? Even if you're in physical discomfort, whatever, you're still going to say, this is already healed. I'm feeling better already. And if the ailment comes up again, this is already healed. I'm feeling better already. I enjoy perfect health. And even if you're in any type of physical discomfort, you're going to keep saying that. Okay? You don't have to believe it, and you probably won't, but you keep saying that. This is already healed. I feel better already. Any advice how not to get contaminated by negative people around you? Oh my God. Okay, that's okay. There's a few things that I want to unpack with this. So if you're perceiving these other people as negative, number one, you are the Lord and there is none else. So you're saying that they're negative, so therefore they have no choice but to show up for you in a negative fashion. So that's number one. You can just say whatever's going on with them, it has nothing to do with me. And, that's it, right? Number two, you cannot be affected by anyone unless you are saying that you can be affected by them. So if you perceive that someone else's negativity can affect you, just say whatever's going on with them, they don't bother me, I don't bother them. I'm the Lord and there is none else, and I'm perfect. And you could even picture like a bubble around you or something, okay? Like you can picture like a literal like energy bubble where no one infiltrates that unless you give them permission. Do you believe in solipsism? I never know how to pronounce that. Solipsism? Yes. Yes. And I just want to make sure I have because I think it's where you're the only one, nothing else matters aside from what you think, but I want to verify this, so I'm giving you the proper answer. Solipsism. The quality of being very self-centered or selfish. Philosophical, the view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. Yes, I agree with that. Okay, so if we're going by the philosophical version of the only thing that can exist is what is known to the self, yes, because you are creating your own experience. You're the only thinker, you're the only observer. There's no one else that's doing anything. There is nothing else that's doing anything. You're interpreting constantly what you think of others and things like that. Okay, so if you even say, oh, I think this person doesn't like me, yeah, you don't know that, but if you are the Lord and there is none else, and you're saying that someone doesn't like you, then they have no choice but to do that, because you don't know what's happening with them, right? Because you're not necessarily in their mind. You are saying, I think they don't like me, and then your mind is saying they don't like me because of this, they don't like me because of that, right? But they might not be doing anything to you, and you're just like, they don't like me. And that's what it is. Just like you can say this motherfucker's in love with me. If they're not doing anything to show that, but you keep going with that story, that is what's going to happen, because you're the only one observing. It's like, oh, I know how this person feels about me. Okay, because you're saying it, right? Whether they said it or not. This is why sometimes, like, if you and this is going to kind of tie a little bit back into what I was talking about, like the psychic stuff and like the manifestation, okay? You can get a vibe from someone where you pick up and something about their energy is off, but you're still the one that has to interpret that as saying, their energy is off, right? And then you are saying, I don't know, that motherfucker's a little shady, they're a little weird, they're a little off. You pick that up from an intuitive knowing, but you still had to interpret that into this person is off, okay? So in theory, it's like, you know, I want to just say this again with like the intuition and the manifestation stuff. It kind of is commingled a little bit, even though it's not necessarily the same thing. So yes, you are the only thinker, you are the only observer, but because thoughts and feelings are intangible, you can constantly pick up on what's going on with other people, but you still have to be the one to interpret that. Okay, so let's say you get a vibe, this person is off, and you're like, I wonder what was that? You still decided. Well, then you can say, you know what? I actually want to get along with this person. So nothing's off with them. I don't know why that came up. Maybe I had a story about particular people that I meet through this way, and they're always a little funny or whatever, right? And then you say this person shows up perfectly for me, and then they have no choice but to conform funny or whatever, right? And then you say this person shows up perfectly for me, and then they have no choice but to conform to that. So this is not to say not to trust your intuition, but I can tell you this: your intuition is not going to tell you anything that's going to cause you to feel constricted. Okay, so if you're picking up a vibe from someone, they're off, I need to get out of here, and you just don't feel anything, then you get the fuck out of there. Okay, I've been in situations like that myself. Like not so much now, but like when I was like fucking teenager and shit, okay, there would be things that I would just like the voice would just say to me, leave, if I was in some party or whatever the case, and I didn't even question, but I didn't feel scared in the moment. The voice was just like, leave. So I left, and then I found out some crazy shit would go down right after I left. Okay, so you are the only thinker, you are the only observer, but sometimes, you know, from that God self, right, it'll just give you a knowing, and the knowing is, you know, it's a manifestation of alignment. It's like it's in core resonance of everything. And you can't describe when you know something. So if you know that you need to go somewhere, if you know that you need to leave somewhere, okay, you're thinking that and you're observing it, that you need to go somewhere. If you know that you need to leave somewhere, okay, you're thinking that and you're observing it, but you're still the one interpreting it as, now I have to take an action. If you get a feeling about, I don't even want to say feeling because that's not, if you get a knowing about someone, I'm going to be with this person forever, and you just know it and there's no rhyme or reason to it, then okay, yeah, you just, that's what it is, right? But then now you're consciously observing what you want from that person. Whereas let's say you get a vibe from someone, oh, I'm gonna stay away from them. You don't feel anything. It's just like you gotta, I don't know, put like a jolt of fucking knowing in your vessel where it's interpreted by a thought, but then you're like, ooh, I'm gonna go over here, right? So with that and manifestation, it's like, I want to say the conscious manifestation, you are going to be aware that you're projecting a thought or an observation, like, oh, I know this motherfucker doesn't like me because of this, and that. That's likely coming from a story from you, okay? Whereas if you're just like, this motherfucker is off, I'm gonna get out of here, that's not coming from a story. That's just your intuition saying, you get the fuck on out of there. Okay, and then that's it. So to me, it's like, yes, the solipsism is valid, but there are occasions when you might get a sensation in your vessel, which is an intuition, which is not going to feel like anything, and there's not going to be a story associated with it, and I would suggest listening to that. Okay, but if you find yourself saying, oh, I know they don't like me, or I know they're in love with me, it's from a story, and that is more of like a conscious projection onto the other person from your observing, because an intuitive knowing, you're not really observing anything. It's just kind of like, whew, a knowing washes over you. Will I be doing another hypnosis meditation? Yes, I was actually thinking of doing one these past few weeks, but I've been a little busy. But I don't know what topic you guys want. if I were to do one. I think I have one with SP and one is like for self-concept. I don't really know what I have no idea what I even have on there, but I can make another one. I was thinking about it, actually. You'd love another one for God's self-concept with more details. Ooh, love you too. Yes, Iris, they are on YouTube, the meditations. Any advice on money scarcity mindset? You don't want to look at yourself as being in an unfavorable financial situation. So what I would suggest is start thinking of an exact amount that you want in your bank balance or in cash or whatever, and say, I always have more than XYZ amount of dollars or whatever currency. I am always protected. I am always provided for. All of my material realm needs are always dollars or whatever currency. I am always protected. I am always provided for. All of my material realm needs are always met. Let's start with that. Fire sign flow. Can you see changes in your SP if you're seeing them every day? You can see changes in someone instantaneously. Like legit, like in an instant, the person could switch up. So the answer to that is yes. If you feel triggered, Michelle, if you feel triggered, so the answer to that is yes. If you feel triggered, Michelle, if you feel triggered even when friends don't get their money's worth, then you likely have a story about money in your subconscious. So I would identify, is hard to come by. Is it that money always gets taken? Is it that money is something you need to work? Is hard to come by. Is it that money always gets taken? Is it that money is something you need to work? One minute the SP is nice, the next minute they're mean. I mean, I would just tend to see an instant shift in that person. I've seen instantaneous shifts in people, like right in front of me, like literally right in front of me. Like someone can say something, I'm like, that's not true. And then they like, look, you know what? I didn't mean that. I'm like, yeah, you fucking didn't. Safi, how do you manifest someone to admit they slipped a drug in your drink? Well, do you want it just for you, or do you want them to say it in front of people? Because that would be what you would center the decision and affirmation around. So-and-so admitted in front of XYZ ABC that they did this. Oh, it's glitching. I don't know if it's, is it glitching? I have no idea. I still see the chat moving, so. Sishtar 0, Shishtara. I don't know how to pronounce your username. Apologies, but I'm glad that I helped you. Clorox username. Apologies, but I'm glad that I helped you. Clorox smoothie. Do you do anything small with manifestations just to practice? I don't do it to practice. Thank you for the heart and the roses, Sishtar. Thank you for the heart and the roses, Sishtar. But care about something, the thing is likely going to manifest instantaneously because there's no built-up backstory. So the thing that you want to keep in mind is that, like, the reason why, in my opinion, that the manifestation communities are even here is because, yes, we're always manifesting, but there's just getting rid of the backstories behind the thing that we're manifesting. That causes, yes, we're always manifesting, but there's just getting rid of the backstories behind the thing that we're manifesting that contradict them. That's why everyone talks about reality creation. So most of the work. Oh, Caleb, it's glitching out. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just literally sitting here. I don't know what's happening. But the thing is also with, like, you know, sitting here, I don't know what's happening. But the thing is also with, like, you know, thank you for mentioning that, because this is kind of like identity shifting too. Okay. So when people talk about manifesting and identity shifting, it's really what you're doing is shifting into a different version of you, and then the 3D follows the parameters of the new version of you. So you're not even the old version. This is when Neville says, you know, the old man must die, right? That's why even in the Bible when they say, you know, the resurrection, right? You are dropping the old version of you and you are becoming a new. Bible when they say, you know, the resurrection, right? You are dropping the old version of you and you are becoming a new version. So let's give a money example for this, okay, with identity shifting. So when you, thank you, Kat, for the rose. When you are identity shifting, okay, and the belief system, this is why I talked about it, because manifestation is instant, but you might have a lot of contradicting beliefs which are keeping the manifestation away from you. So let's say you're I'm going to go with $20 million because I started with that, okay? So $20 million, right? You're saying $20 million, $20 million. I always have more than $20 million in my bank account. I am wealthy. I'm a multimillionaire, and it arrived to me perfectly, better than I expect. Okay, cool, right? So now the $20 million, here's in my opinion where the identity shifting really, really comes out to play. You were affirming, right? But you didn't, right? You were just kind of in the identity. I mean, you maybe were in the identity of a millionaire. Maybe you weren't, but you were just affirming, and the shit fucking happened. Now you got $20 million. When you get the manifestation, this is my opinion, that is when you show your true identity shift. So are you a multimillionaire with $20 million? You were affirming for it, so you fucking got it, right? You visualized it. You played sleep tapes. You fucking listened to subliminals. Now you got it. Now you go. If you don't shift to the identity of you who is a multimillionaire, if you still have a broke mindset, you're going to be scared to circulate money. You're going to think that motherfuckers are going to come after you looking for fucking paydays and shit, right? You're gonna think, oh no, like this amount of money, like whatever. Yeah, because you didn't identity shift. So this is why, in my opinion, the identity shifting, when you're affirming and the thing that ain't in front of you, it's kind of like, all right, yeah, okay, sure. It'd be great if you were in the identity of fucking $20 million in your bank account, but you know, it's not there. So it's kind of like, okay, right? If you were in the identity of fucking $20 million in your bank account, but you know, it's not there. So it's kind of like, okay, right? You are operating as a broke motherfucker, but you have the $20 million, but that's where you are supposed to shift your identity when the thing happens, and you conduct yourself accordingly. Okay, the same thing with SPs. You're manifesting SP. Yeah, the SP is not there. You're sleeping alone every night. SP's in love with me. We're happily married. Blah, 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 blah. The SP shows up. Who are you? There, you're sleeping alone every night. SP's in love with me. We're happily married. Blah, 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 blah. The SP shows up. Who are you now? Are you the motherfucker that's like, oh, you don't know how to be in a relationship with the SP? Or you scared they're gonna leave again? That, oh, you don't know how to be in a relationship with the SP? Or you scared they're gonna leave again? That's where you identity shift. Are you the millionaire? Okay, and you could listen. Okay, ooh, if the SP showed up tomorrow, some of you might be like, ooh, but ooh, if the SP showed up tomorrow. Some of you might be like, ooh, but is the truth. If it's not there in the 3D, there's still a semblance of the old identity where you're like, maybe you don't care, maybe you're like, I know it's happening, so it doesn't matter, right? But when the thing is in front of your face, if you don't shift your identity and remain constantly in the identity of the $20 million you who's happily married to SP, or let's say your health improves instantly in the identity of the $20 million you who's happily married to SP, or let's say your health improves overnight, you have a miracle, okay? If you still identify as a sick person, where's that health that you manifested going? It's not going to stay around. So that's where you truly identity shift when the thing happens. And motherfuckers could disagree. It's my opinion. So yes, you want to get yourself as on board with the new. It's my opinion. So yes, you want to get yourself as on board with the new story as you can, and you can make it manifest. But the true identity shift happens when the thing is in front of your fucking face. What you gonna do? $20 million now. Oh, but you're still a broke motherfucker. You're still thinking, how is this going to get paid? Oh, you don't have enough. Oh, someone is going to come after you asking for a handout. Someone's going to try to take it from you. That's not the identity of someone who's wealthy. Someone who's wealthy is like, I always have more than enough. Everything is always taken care of. Ain't no one bothering me. I'm wealthy and they know I'm wealthy. That's it. Who cares? Right? SP. So you manifest the SP, now you're married to SP and they're in bed with you every night. What are they doing on the phone? Who are you? Who are you? Are you the motherfucker that is mistrusting? And then guess what's going to happen with the SP? Guess what's going to happen with the 20 million? That's where you truly identity shift. You have a miraculous health healing overnight, okay? You wake up, everything, is that too good to be true? Oh, wow, I can't believe this happened. Oh, but what about the chronic thing? Yeah, now you're bringing the chronic thing back into the chat when you got the manifestation. So in my opinion, the identity shift is most important when the thing manifests in 3D. And some motherfuckers ain't ready for that conversation. They're like, yeah, you need to, thank you for the roses. So some motherfuckers like, yeah, you need to be the version of you now. And yes, that does help because it helps like bring you into that zone. But to be honest, unless you have the thing, you don't have the thing. And if you don't have the thing, a part of you is like, okay, yeah, it's not here. I don't care, but it's already done, whatever. Like, but when the thing is in front of you and you don't shift that identity and be mindful to stay in that identity, same thing is likely to happen. Is it? It's still glitching? I have no idea. I mean, everything looks okay on my end. I have no idea what's happening in the chat. It's a story, Mr. Android, exactly. It's a story, Mr. Android, exactly. It's the story one is telling with conviction. So anything that you're saying and you're just in it, like this is what it is, it manifests. This is why you can make a decision and not even do affirmations or visualizations or script it out or whatever. You could just make a decision. This is what it is. I'm a millionaire. Okay. Yeah. I mean, to go back to the identity shifting, because, okay, this is what I've seen in some comments where it's like, well, how am I supposed to act like a millionaire if the money is not there and there's bills due? Okay, so that technically is like, well, you know, you're not fully acting like a millionaire, but you're acting like a millionaire in your mind. And you're saying, you know what, however this is taken care of, it's taken care of because my funds are available now. Now, maybe the millions won't come in that day, but maybe the bill will be omitted, or maybe someone will give you a gift, or some unexpected cash will come in, right? That's do it. But you don't waver from the story that I'm a multimillionaire, my funds are available now if you see a bill, because then that's going to be going with the 3D. Now, I'm not saying don't pay, do it. But you don't waver from the story that I'm a multimillionaire, my funds are available now if you see a bill, because then that's going to be going with the 3D. Now, I'm not saying don't pay, okay? Okay. How's this getting paid? Okay, well, yeah, it's already taken care of because I'm a multimillionaire. That's the answer. The answer is what you want. Okay, what you want is already done. So that's the answer. Yes, I will be posting this on YouTube. I don't even know how long I've been talking. I always say I'm not going to talk for long, and then I end up talking for fucking hours. Ooh, Natalie from New Jersey. Holla. I love Jersey. Yeah, I mean, it's really, you can just make a decision and say it's done. And as long as you don't contradict that decision, the thing is going to happen. But what happens, when I was originally saying about the manifestation content, it's like the content exists because of the belief systems that are built up. So the beliefs are the only thing that's keeping the manifestation from you. It's not really anything else because it's already done. That's why the small things you see right away in 3D, because you don't have a built up belief system. Like when someone says manifest a blue butterfly, like, why are you gonna waste your time doing that? Like why? You know, it's like, come on, do you want your shit or do you want your shit? And if you know you have a built up backstory that contradicts the thing, you gotta just go ham. Mr. Android, you're the realest guru. Love it. Ha! I'm glad you love the content. Whew. Hey, Morgan trains dogs. How you doing? Why manifest small things, fire sign flow? Exactly. Like why? I mean, like, unless you really care about that. Like, if you care about, like, I want to manifest a free cup of coffee, that thing that everyone says, okay, yeah. If you're new to the law and you're like, oh, well, I don't really know if this works, and you tried out the small things, yeah, but likely, and this is where, like, anyone that says manifestation is bullshit is likely because they were able to manifest small things, but they couldn't manifest the big things into their 3D because they had a built-up backstory to it. And then they just decide, oh, manifestation is bullshit, because they really didn't believe in it to begin with. But it's not like you're not manifesting anything. You're being just decide, oh, manifestation is bullshit, because they really didn't believe in it to begin with. But it's not like you're not manifesting anything. You're being happen. Ain't no one's circumstances special. Ain't no one's circumstances above the law, unless you as the law are saying that it's a special circumstance. And this motherfucker manifested it in 3 days, but it took you 3 weeks. Are you better or worse than them? No, it's just likely you had different beliefs going on in regards to that thing than they did. So it's like, you know, to test it out for things that you don't care about, it's like stupid in my opinion. Like why? Like, motherfuckers are orgasming if they see like 1111. Like, come on. Is that what you want? You want to live your life just looking for 1111 and not have the shit that you really want? Like, the fuck? Yes, exactly. Just persist until it hardens into fact, because it already is a fact, because your mind is the fact, because you're the only observer. One needs to not create resistance, knowing they're always in divine timing and alignment. I mean, I don't know. See, the thing with divine timing, I feel, is like, I don't know, kind of like a spiritual concept, because there is no time really, right? So alignment just means that there's a clear channel. You're just on board with it. You're not resisting it. But divine timing, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's more of like a spirituality thing. And like, you know, the thing with like the spiritual community, I feel like it can also be like lumped into the manifestation community. You know, and then people start going with these spiritual things like karmic relationship and twin flame and like, come on. That's another belief system. I think a lot of things, because I came into the manifestation community from the spiritual community, and there are a lot of limiting beliefs in the spiritual community. You can't fuck with someone's free will. There is no free will, because you're the only thinker and observer. So even if you think that they're thinking something about you, you're still the one saying that. There is no free will. Okay? This is a karmic situation, so it has to resolve. Come on. So now you calling it a karmic situation. What even is that? What is a twin flame? You know, the most fucking toxic shit I ever done heard was the fucking twin flame bullshit. Okay? Motherfuckers talking about runner, chaser, there's gotta be a separation, there's gotta be all sorts of fucking gobbledygook. Okay? Like, whatever the fuck shit. Right? Like, you believe that, then that's just gonna play out for you. Yes, a lot of it does contradict manifesting and creating your own reality, you know? Morgan trains dogs. You're one of the only coaches who doesn't water down the law with your message, and I love you for that. I love you too. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Mr. Android, you know, like it's all a belief. So, I mean, the thing is, like, okay, I believe in astrology, not to like a super extent, but I have a belief in it. So if I hear someone's a certain sign, I might be like, oh, you're like this or you're like that, whatever. It's my belief. Doesn't mean it's real. It's just I choose to believe in it. And this 3D matrix is made up of beliefs. Okay? But if those beliefs didn't exist, like, it wouldn't present itself to you. So someone who doesn't believe in astrology is not gonna care either way about a sun sign, a moon sign. They're just not gonna care. They'll be like, okay, the thing that is the constant is the law. Emerald, you don't get the coaches who hate on Neville, but they're full of limiting beliefs. I mean, who's hating on Neville? I don't know who's hating on Neville. I mean, I think him and Florence Scovel Shin, I would say I agree with a lot of what they say. I don't agree with everything, but they do have a lot of great content. Like, I don't know who's hating on them. Wow, that's crazy. You've seen a couple. I mean, I don't know. Joseph Murphy. I'm not too familiar with Joseph Murphy. I know that he studied under Abdullah, just like Neville. I do have his book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind or something, but like the way that I read any book, I just like skim bits and pieces. But I personally resonate with Neville more than Joseph Murphy. Oh, I love Abdullah. I don't even know Abdullah, but like if he taught them all of this stuff, you know, then he had a lot going for him. And, you know, I really agree with Abdullah's way of teaching when Neville is asking him, like, but I done the visual of sleeping every night in Barbados, nothing's happening. He's like, I can't talk to you about being in Barbados and getting there if you're already there. You're in Barbados. And he didn't say anything else. And that's like the clearest, that's the clearest message. Negar, if with purpose we say negative stories to, or we complain, hold on, what did you say? Without being real to manifest? It depends how much time you're spending in the negative story. You know, if you're spending a lot of time in the negative story, then yeah, it's just a matter of like, are you constantly replaying that? Okay, I mean, there's also some people are going to say, oh, you can only say my positive thoughts manifest, but I don't know if I really agree with that, because if you're also, some people are going to say, oh, you can only say my positive thoughts manifest, but I don't know if I really agree with that, because if you're saying only my positive thoughts manifest, right, but then throughout your entire day you're saying negative shit in your mind, which one is gonna win? You know what I mean? It's like still an assumption of what you're focused on. So, Queen K, so you think this technology is human creation or just part of the matrix and science isn't real? Listen, science is a belief system. It's even, you know, to be honest with that question, it's even, the matrix is another belief system. It's just something that I personally resonate with, and I see a lot of evidence that's sort of clandestine in the 3D that entails to this being a mind matrix where, you know, that's how it works. Okay, and matrix, if we look at the root definition, it means mother breeder. Okay, so the 3D matrix, it's breeding from the energy that you're sending it through the thoughts, and then it's showing it to you. But I mean, do I think this is a human creation? There had to be what some would call the human mind to even interpret and articulate like what a matrix is, to name it something, right? But I mean, this creation that in my opinion, didn't come from like a humanoid mind. It's just like all is consciousness. Mr. Android, what about soul missions? Again, that would be another belief system. Now, I do think that if someone is in resonance with a particular path that they want to follow, right? Let's say they always wanted to, I don't know, become a monk, okay, and they've always felt that since they were like, before they can remember. Could that be called a soul mission? Yeah, but like, in what, like, who's calling it a soul mission? It's just something that's in resonance with you, right? Everyone wants different things. Everyone is an individual. So a particular path for one individual might be different from the other individual. But if you want to call it a soul mission, I just think it's kind of like what we have an interest in. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's like, if you've ever played like a video game and there's different characters and they all have different strengths and weaknesses, but you choose the avatar of the character you want to play, that's kind of how I think of it. You're choosing the avatar because you know that it has this strength in this area. And you're like, okay, so that's what you kind of go with, and you focus a portion of your consciousness there. But to me, this thing, the best way that I could describe it that resonates with me, which is not right or wrong, is that this is like a holographic, high-tech video game. And the video game parameters are set by what you dictate in your mind. Then you have a vessel that just experiences it. So I don't think my soul has planned any of this. I don't planned any of what? I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't resonate with that, like soul purpose or anything. I think things just are. But you know, from the humanoid mind perspective, which, you know, where none of us are human, it's just called a human vessel, right? It's to search for meaning in something. So if someone were to say, yeah, we're all just here, who knows why, who cares? That would be kind of shallow to some people, but that's kind of what I'm in agreement with. I'm like, yeah, this is just going on. It's a game. Okay. Like a greater purpose. Like for me, that, I don't know, that's never resonated. Reality is malleable, but some people treat it like the law of the 3D. I mean, I guess that's a them issue, isn't it? Because, you know, I don't know. A lot of times, like when someone has a successful manifestation, they might call it a coincidence, right? Because they just, you know, they can't explain it, and their mind just, it has no interest in manifestation. So that's why it's like, to touch a little bit on the other comment, you know, soul purpose, whatever. Why are some individuals into manifestation and some aren't? It's just, that's what you choose to be interested in while you're playing the game. And to be honest, it's none of my business why anyone would choose to do whatever they're doing in this game. I don't give a shit. What does it have to do with me? Nothing, right? So I think it's like, you know, people a lot of times want to look for meaning in things. What if there's no meaning? What if things just are? What if we're just here? We see evidence that we're creating 3D experiences by thinking of them. What if there's no meaning? We're just here. Okay. I mean, that'd be okay with me. You know, but I can tell you, even people that have like channeled this stuff, and I'm not saying channeling isn't real, I've experienced channeling, but even people that like channel this stuff and they're, you know, intuitive, and they call themselves shamans or whatever the case, and they're saying this is the purpose of this, right? You could get like 20 different shamans and they will all tell you a different reason as to why this is going on. Are any of them right or wrong? No, it's just their perspective because it resonates with them. So to me, I'm gonna go back to what I always say in like most of my videos, true neutral. True neutral. We're just here. We're just chilling. Okay. You want to assign it a meaning that's a video game like I do? That's like a high-tech game? Yeah, then okay. But you don't need to do that. You know what I mean? It's just neutral. Everything is neutral until you give it meaning. Yes, you give meaning to the world, not the world give meaning to you. Yes, you give meaning to the world, not the world give meaning to you. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I never... hey, Shelly, what's up, girl? Good to see you. So it's like anything that happens in the 3D is neutral. It's just yours because you are the law and there is none else. You're assigning whatever meaning you want. So there really is no opposite circumstance in the 3D. It's just something happened. Oh, but you perceive it as the opposite. What if it's not? What if it's just there and you're like, oh, okay. Like you step over dog shit in the fucking sidewalk. What if it's just there and you're like, oh, okay. Like you step over dog shit in the fucking sidewalk. All right. Yep. I mean, exactly, Shelly. Like, I mean, people are just, you know, I don't know, to each their own. Like, I don't agree or disagree, you know? Thank you for joining, Mr. Android. Have a good night, day, morning, wherever you're at. Like, there is no meaning unless you declare it so. So if someone is like manifesting an SP and they're like, oh, this is my soulmate. Oh, okay. Now you just said that. If someone is manifesting SPO, this is a twin flame, and then we have to go through a separation and all. Okay, so you just created that. The SP is just there. You could call SP toilet bowl. All right. I sit on them every morning. Cool, no problem. Moving on. Like, it could be anything. You're assigning that meaning. Then we should take more naps if there is no meaning. I mean, Iris, if you want to take more naps, if there's no meaning, I mean, I'm not saying for you not to think that there is no meaning. That's just my perspective. It's like you, not you necessarily, but in general, people want to feel that something has meaning. Like, why did this occur? Or what is the purpose of that? And there is no purpose. You know what I mean? But some people are just kind of like not into that, you know? Or even, or just kind of like not into that, you know, or even, if someone is not into that, you know, or even, if someone is move forward and then maybe the thing would disappear too, right? But you're trying to like, you know, figure out what you did wrong. And like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, okay? Like, let's say you manifested something and something totally ape shit pops up. I mean, if you want to self-reflect and be like, okay, like, did I have a hand in creating this to an extent, or do I just want to ignore it? If you want to look in, you know, what was I thinking before this happened? I think some reflection is good only if it's a pattern, okay? In my opinion. If it's just some weird shit happens, you're like, okay, whatever, who cares? Moving on, because it's not a pattern. But if it's something that is repeated and repeated and repeated, and the same thing keeps happening, and you're like, what the fuck? I would suggest doing some self-reflection, see the meaning that you were assigning different things that occurred before that thing actually occurred. Where were your thoughts? That's when I would recommend the self-reflection, just so you can get your shit. If there's a pattern. But if there's no pattern and just something, you're manifesting $20 million, you get a bill. Okay, well, that's never happened before, so moving on, right? It's only, in my opinion, when there is a pattern in a certain area or multiple areas and the same thing keeps playing out. Every job you have, the boss is a fucking dickhead. Then the boss ain't fucking a dickhead. You're the one that's perceiving that all your bosses are dickheads. Do you see what I'm saying? So I would look for the meaning in that. But if all your bosses have been pleasant, you go to a new job and the boss is a dickhead, that's an isolated instance. So why assign meaning? Okay, yeah, that's just the way they are. Who cares? Right? Why did you attract that? That's still kind of showing where you're at, because you're like, okay, well, clearly they have some shit going on with them, but that's not my problem. So I'm going to move forward, right? Because everyone is a reflection of you. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying like, you know, people that are in closest proximity, you might notice have more in common with you than like a barista or something, but they're still you pushed out, not because you created them to act a certain way, but because they're showing you who you are. So if someone is rude to you when you're asking for a drink at the bar, are you gonna be like, oh, well, I can't believe they spoke to me like that? Then that's kind of a you thing. But if you're just like, oh, they must be having a bad day, that's still showing you who you are, right? In some weird way. Hey, Jenny, love you. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna definitely talk to you later. So just stop labeling stuff good and bad. I would say if you're going to label something, always assign it a meaning to your favor. Because someone's good might be bad to you. Someone's bad might be good to you. So what do you think is good or bad? There is no good or bad. They're the same thing, different degree. The circumstance is here. It just is. Is it good? Is it bad? You ask two different motherfuckers, you might get two different answers, okay? So you have to decipher what is good or bad to you and always go with the more favorable thing. Yes, exactly, Shelly. Girl, you know this. Always put a good spin on things. The most positive spin you can in the moment. But I still would recommend, you know, not even toiling with the 3D, just being like, okay, yeah, that, whatever. Cool, that happened. Moving on, stay with the story. Do not veer from the trajectory. Adriana, how to manifest out of legal matters. What legal matters? There are no legal matters. You never had legal matters. What are you talking about? That I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Oh, that was a glitch in the system. Okay, moving on. You don't look at something. Sounds so batshit, but you don't look at something as a problem, even if it looks in the 3D to the logical mind like a problem, because how you're thinking of the thing is more important than the thing itself. So everyone could be telling you 6 ways to Sunday that this is happening. And if you're just like, no, I'm immune to this bullshit. I don't know what's happening there. Oh, wow. These motherfuckers got their titties in a tangle. Not me. Okay. That's a them thing. Yes. Glitch in the system. Yeah, Emerald. The same thing with fear mongering about the economy. I don't even pay attention to that shit, honestly. I don't pay attention at all when someone is talking about the economy or whatever. I'm just like, okay, like it really has nothing to do with you unless you say it does. Even like top news stories and things like that. You know, I've seen so many different things on the news about something that was going on in a particular area, and I happened to be in that area and everything was peaceful and perfect where I was at. Why? Because I bring peaceful and perfect with me. You see what I'm saying? I carry that with me. It's not going to be from the outside. So theoretically, like, you're always safe and you're always protected because you carry that safety with you. There's nothing that the news could say or the economy could say. If you're always wealthy, it doesn't matter what's happening in the economy. You're always wealthy. You're bringing the wealth with you. Doesn't matter what SP is saying or doing in the 3D, right? Because you are bringing that love with you. So you're bringing it with you. SP has no choice but to conform to that, right? I bring peaceful and perfect with me. Haha. Yeah. That's definitely. Yes, you are the personal storyteller of your life. So you ought to tell the most beautiful story you've ever told. I love that. Yes, exactly. Because you're the main character, you're the director, And if at any moment you don't like where the scene is headed, you just say, oh, stop, we're just gonna go over here. That's it. And the production is like universal forces, if you want to think of it like orchestrating things around what the director wants the main star to do. Any manifestation, specific citizenship, winning an award, anything, make one statement that implies that it's already done and stick to it. Don't wonder how, don't look at timing, or, you know, I elaborated more on this towards the beginning when I was still kind of in my sermon mode, but it's the same thing. What do you want? Think of it as already done. Make one statement about that. You don't need a million affirmations. No matter what's going on in 3D, just keep up with that statement. Carol Gypsy, health manifestations, when the 3D is showing something different, you're not looking at the 3D. You're not. What do you want to happen in terms of health? Whatever's going on in the 3D, you just, you say that's not true, it's already healed. I'm already healed. I'm already healed, whole and perfect. Maria Andrea, so you just have to stay calm and know. I mean, you don't even really need to stay calm, in my opinion. I mean, of course, like, calm is always going to be better than, like, you know, riled up, but you don't even need to stay calm, and you don't even need to know. You just need to persist in it. If you know it and you're calm, of course, that's, like, even better. But you can manifest something and just be like, this is what it is. I'm fucking pissed as fuck, but this is what it is. I don't even believe it, but this is what it is. It's the decision. And then, you know, you have to just stick with that one thing. No matter how you're feeling, no matter if you believe it or know it or not, what is the thing that you want? You just drill that in your fucking mind. Do you visualize what you want or affirm? You can visualize if you want, and you can affirm if you want. It really just depends. Some individuals aren't into like visualization, and they still manifest with just affirmations. Or you don't need to use affirmations. You can just visualize. It really depends on the person, you know. It's not there's no cookie cutter method, because technically you don't need a method, because you are the method. If you just make a decision and say this is what it is, you didn't think about it, that shit would materialize. All of the techniques are there to help combat any resistance you have to that thing, okay? That's all they're doing. They're not manifesting for you. They're just not. They're getting rid of resistance, because now you're laser focused on what you want. So the resistance becomes less and less because you're focused on what you want. So everything else tends to, as a natural byproduct of that focus, to disintegrate. Do you think we're always manifesting in the unconscious assumptions? I mean, you're always manifesting. Sometimes you're consciously aware that you are, and sometimes you're not. If there's a pattern that you have experienced, then likely there is a belief in there that is subconscious that you're not quite seeing. So I would recommend figuring out what that is, only if there's a pattern. If there's not a pattern, you don't need to say, oh, why did this happen? No. If there's a pattern, yeah, because then the common denominator is you, and it's likely coming from a belief or an assumption that you have that you might not be aware of consciously. How do you feel about the telephone technique? I mean, again, it's just a technique. You know, it's not what's manifesting. So with any technique, whatever you're comfortable with, the Om method or the whisper method or whatever, is trending. If you're comfortable doing that and that's something that you enjoy doing, then by all means. But a technique, it's just, It's whatever. It's like, what flavor ice cream do you like? You know, everyone's is different, but you technically don't need a technique. You just say that it's done. Fire sign flow. We are the power guys. Hell yeah. Command and demand. I like that. That was spoken like a true fire. That was spoken like a true fire sign. I love it. How do you change your subconscious mind, especially if it's issues from childhood? Repetition. Repetition. And what would be the opposite of your childhood beliefs? I would make one statement and affirm that repeatedly. And if it's something to do with self-concept, I would recommend like heavy self-concept affirmations. Hell yeah, you always get what you want. That's good, Vanessa. I love it. Yeah, I think I'm going to do maybe one more question because I'm getting a little hungry. Self-concept for money, I mean, it really depends. If you need to work on self-concept, then sure. But if you don't need to work on self-concept, if you're feeling generally good about how your days are going, it's just your money app that needs attention, you really don't need to work on self-concept for money. Oh, yeah, Carol Gypsy, I am going to be posting this on YouTube. The whole thing, I don't even know how long I've been talking. I have no idea. Technique is basically putting in the work, and that's what we don't want to do. We like things easy. Yeah, well, you know what? You don't even need to work on getting the thing because the thing is already done. It's just the techniques come in handy, and they do help if there is a belief that contradicts the thing. So, you know, but if you can just say, you know what, I realize there's a belief here, but you know what, I'm done with that now. I decide that this is going in my favor starting now. Then you can do that as well. It's just that, you know, some people are more comfortable with that than others, you know. You're trying to tap you get to 25K before I go. Well, thank you, Morgan Trains Dogs. I appreciate that. I don't even know. Oh, I see. The 25K up there. Okay. I had no idea what's even going on. As I always say, I'm not super tech savvy. You know, I'm okay with that. Okay. One question. Make it really, really, really deep. This way I answer it and I get to post on YouTube before it gets too long. What do I think of Isn't It Wonderful? I think is Neville the one that says that? Isn't it wonderful? I mean, it's the same as any technique. It really just matters what your interpretation of the thing is. So if you want to say, isn't it wonderful that I have $20 million, and, you know, that's comfortable for you, you can say that, you know. Revision. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was Neville that said that. I mean, revision, guys, like, you don't have to make a fucking crazy process with revision. You can literally just say, that never happened. Or, that happened perfectly and better than I expect. Because of that, I actually have everything that I want right now. You wouldn't want to give attention to something that you don't like, because if you're giving attention to something that you don't like, even if it happened in a perceived past, the past no longer exists, and you're summoning that same energy to you now, but you perceive it from a past perspective, but your attention on it is now. So technically, if we want to go with the manifestation thing, your childhood never happened. Like, you know what I mean? Because is it going on now? No, but you have memories, sure. But if you don't tap into those memories, then did it ever really happen? So if there's something you don't like from the past, I would just say that never happened. If it's something that you wanted to go more favorably, yes, it works the same way. So if you had something that happened in your childhood or 2 weeks ago or whenever the case, and you wanted it to go differently, you would just say that You know, I don't know why did, if you're in no contact with SP and it's been 2 weeks, you're like, why did SP just like blow up my phone 2 weeks ago and tell me they're in love with me and obsessed with me and can't live without me? Like, it would be the same thing depending on what was wanted or what was unwanted, but you're thinking about it now. So you would just say a statement that it went the way that you wanted when the thing happened, but you're looking at it from the now moment, which is essentially changing the past, like I mentioned in that whole Back to the Future Marty McFly newspaper thing. Ooh, okay. You're welcome, Morgan Trains Dogs. So, Laura Kate, is trauma therapy a bad idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Because it's your reality. So, I mean, listen, I'm not opposed to like therapy or anything like that if you are knowing that it's going to help you in some way. But do you need to go to therapy in order to manifest what you want? No. So it's really a personal decision. You don't need therapy to manifest. If you think it's going to serve you in some way and it resonates with you, then yeah, sure, do that. But it has nothing to do with your manifestations, because technically what the trauma that you're going to potentially speak of to the therapist, from the manifestation point of view, it never happened. And this is not to diminish anyone's past experiences. I know that people, you know, have had things, okay, but technically you're only reliving those past traumas from the now moment. And from the manifestation perspective, you can just say that never happened, or you can revise it and say, you know what, that's what happened, and it serves me now, and it serves me perfectly. Now, if you want to go to therapy because that's a reason, then yes, you can. I've never been to therapy, so I really can't say anything about that, but from individuals that I know have been to therapy, it tends to, from what again, no personal experience, but I've heard that it tends to be dragging up things that make the person feel bad. So I don't know, maybe it's not for all therapists that do that, but just that's the overall thing that I've heard from everyone who has experienced like therapy in that setting. And with manifestation, it's kind of like now you're being kind of preempted to speak about the thing that traumatized you and relive that and activate that again in the now moment. So for me, again, that's a personal decision, but if you're manifesting something and you're reliving the past and it's trauma, then now you're bringing your attention to that now. That's all I'm going to say. Olivia, I love you too. What does it mean when you dream about the thing you're manifesting? It's your reality. What do you think it means? You can assign any meaning you want. You went to a psychiatrist in Santa Monica who shamed you. I mean, there you go. That doesn't sound like a pleasant experience, and I don't know why they would do that if you're seeking their counsel on something, but ooh. Thank you, Livia, for the gifts. Thank you so much. Oh, you lit up a rose. Holla. Finger heart. Love it. Energy release. If you like the energy release with EFT tapping and chakras and that's what works for you, then yeah, continue that. It's like all a matter of like these. Ooh. Oh, I look kind of nice with that cowboy hat and mustache. Aw, thank you for the heart. if you want to do these things like EFT tapping and chakra release and, you know, meditations and all, like, I don't have an issue with that, because it's what's for you. But you don't need to do any of those things to manifest. You know what I mean? All you need to do is manifest, is focus on the thing that you want. Now, if you feel like energy healing or therapy or counseling or something, tarot readings or whatever are going to serve you in some way, I don't see an issue with that. But it's specific to the person. So if you're cool with doing all of that, then by all means go for it. But do you need those things to manifest? Absolutely not. The only thing you need to manifest is you. Ooh, thank you, Blue, for sharing the live. Exactly, Emerald. I only define what's true and real for me, as everyone should. That's great advice. Yeah, the spiritual things can be another tool. And, you know, if you're feeling good about doing those type of practices, then yeah, continue it. But like, the law is the law. Ooh. Oh, what is up, Galaxy? Thank you for that. The law is the law, and the law is neutral. The law doesn't care if you believe in chakras. The law doesn't care if you've been to therapy. The law only cares what you're focused on now, because now is the only moment in time. So what's your focus? You don't need any of those things to manifest. You might want to participate in those things to, you know, have you at like a more comfortable 3D experience if you feel like you need that and that's serving you, but you don't need anything to manifest other than you and saying it's done. You know, but everyone is an individual, so I respect anyone who's doing anything to like better themselves if they feel like it serves them, you know. Ooh, what is this? That looks like like that was like Merlin the Magician. I love it. Thank you. Okay, so this is gonna be the last question, Laura Kate. Okay, because my phone is dying. What if the spiraling is making you feel like giving up on everything? If you're spiraling, that's where you definitely would want to implement some of the practices that we're saying, like the EFT tapping. I've heard works for people. You can take deep breaths. You can do a meditation. You could go for a walk. You could go for a run. You could go to the gym. You could go for a drive. But you can literally just take deep breaths. Thank you for the heart. And, ooh, microphone, hello. You can just take deep breaths and spiral and say, you know what? That's the old story leaving. Everything has already worked out perfectly for me. If you are feeling in a place where you're anxious, I recommend I am safe affirmations, okay? I am safe. I am safe in my mind. I am safe in my body. Everything is perfect. And just say that over and over while you deep breathe. And you could literally do that anywhere, okay? I'm safe. I'm safe in my mind. I'm safe in my body. All is well. Everything is perfect as you continue to breathe. And you will start to feel better. And when you're not spiraling, likely you're not going to feel like giving up. It's just that those spiraling thoughts seem like they're in control in that moment. And they're trying to get you to go back to the old story, but you know better than that. So you calm yourself down because you're the priority. So if anyone is spiraling, that's what I'd recommend you do, or find something that, you know, resonates with you, but you calm yourself down first and you say I am statements to ground yourself back into the reality, and you let the thoughts go. You don't worry about affirming or doing repetitions or scripting or visual. You are the priority. You're spiraling. I am safe. I'm safe in my mind. I'm safe in my body. All is well. Everything is perfect. You deep breathe. That's all you have to do, unless you have a specific practice that works for you. Woo. Okay, I'm glad you resonate, Laura. But thank you, everyone. My phone is like, yeah, I need to charge this guy here. So, you thought you saw me in a Drake video. Oh my God, that's so funny. Woo. You're welcome, Morgan Trains Dogs. So thank you all for joining from around the world. And this will be going on YouTube. I don't know how long it is. I never know how long it is. And thank you for the questions, for the likes, for the comments, for the shares, for the gifts. I appreciate you all. Thank you so, so much for being here. May all of you already know that you have received what you want. It is done now. It is done perfectly, peacefully, better than you expect. That's it. All right, guys, I am gonna head out, and this will be on YouTube, so talk to you guys soon.